proudest day and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Krunching Gears, the Rally Podcast, Season 3, Episode 16. Connor, West Cork at the weekend, what an epic rally. We talked to the winners from it. We speak to Mikie Galvin, Matt Edwards and Will Creighton in the Rally 2 category. And then from the two-wheel drive, we catch up with Chris Melly, Kevin Eve's co-driver. And we also spoke to then Ryan MacHugh and Kevin Horgan. Kevin was sitting with Damien Toner. And then finally, this weekend coming up, we have the first round of the BRC and we speak to their media manager, Matt Cotton. So, busy show, but what can we say? West Cork, first time run 3 days, and what a 3 days they had in West Cork.
Look, plenty of hype running coming up to West Cork. Fantastic entry, the 3-day event, night stages, and then we had the weather chucked in as well. Like, it had everything.
Yeah, it really had. And like, you know, to give them their dues, they had a lot to hype up as well too, because they had a fantastic entry. You know, we know how good the stages are down there and all too. Yes, the weather was horrendous, but in fairness to everybody involved, they kept the whole show on the road. Like, and that was those Friday night stages, just that brought a new dimension to international rally. And we've seen them used in the Bushwhacker and in Clarny Historics, but to see our top guys, some of those video clips of them at night just look, mind blowing.
Oh, look, absolutely incredible. Genuinely mesmerizing to watch the video clips. It's just fantastic. Some of my earliest memories is night stages, the Circuit of Ireland, and to look back at Killarney, and my God, the quality of the lights as well. Like, you just saw hedgerows and trees lit up like it was daylight. It was incredible.
Yeah, and like the speed at night, like that's, and I know the guys say, from the lights, and they're lit up. It's like almost like daylight, if not better. But like, it just blows my mind because, like, yourself driving down the road, you're being more cautious, you're being more careful in the dark. But these guys seem to ratchet it up a level.
Look, come here. It wasn't just they absolutely did in the nighttime, but it wasn't just just nighttime only. Like, they had fog to deal with on Saturday, and you and I have seen some of the clips of just pure 100% commitment going into blind corners.
Yeah, for sure. And
and
just having that total commitment in your own abilities, the car's abilities, and your co-driver as well too. Like, that is, it's just blows my mind, and that's what's so great about this sport that we love so much.
Look, that's it. We had the excitement and we had the drama. Round 2 of the Irish Tarmac Championship, and poor Callum, it just didn't go for him his way.
Yeah, and they got such a promising start, like leading on the Friday night and all, and but like Keith just, I don't know, just tightened the belt that wee bit more on the Saturday morning and just showed us what he has. He has just that so much in the back pocket. But like, even Callum was still ahead of everybody else. Like, it just shows he has lifted his game even from last year as well.
Well, that's it. Like, when you look at the times, the difference, like Matt, and we know how strong Matt is, but like, to finish the rally, a minute or something back behind Keith, and so unfortunate for Callum, and I would have loved to have seen that battle go to the wire between Callum and Keith, because neither was given any quarter.
No, that's for sure. And like, that just, we keep saying it, but the quality of Irish rally, and it just runs so deep, doesn't it? It's not just the one crew that's just going to run away with it either, and that to me speaks volumes. And that went right down through the whole field. Like, we've seen it in modifies, Rally 4s, every class right throughout the field, and the historics the same, and the juniors, everything. Like, and it's such a great time for Irish rally at the moment, full stop.
Look, fantastic time. And again, add into the mix, we get to see some of our WRC stars appearing on Irish Tarmac events as well, which was brilliant to see. Will Creighton and Liam Regan there competing, and not only competing, but giving it everything, and with the potential for humiliation if it didn't go well.
Yeah, and like they just seem to step into, yes, I know they're world champions, but like a Rally 2 Fest is still a new toy to them, and only their second event, and like never had really tested it on a road stage before, and to go in there and those conditions to come away with third overall, that's just, we know they're talented, but I think even I got my eyes open to just how good they are.
Well, that's it. Like, we've seen them competing on the world stage for the last 3, 4 years. And, we're looking at them against competitors that we don't know. This was our first opportunity to see them in a competitive car and to benchmark them against our local talent.
Yeah, for sure, and like, we can't praise them enough because like they just looked so comfortable right from the get go. Like, and the pace was there. They all talked about being comfortable in the car, and even at that, it didn't even seem to be exerting himself. It still seemed to be driving within his own limits as well.
Well, look, that's it. Like at the end of the day, the Irish Tarmac Championship is not their bag this year. It's not what they're about. This was just about getting seat time, getting familiarity with the car before their first round in the WRC2 Championship in Croatia. So they weren't out to win this event. They weren't out even to do well as such. They were there to get experience, and phenomenal what they did. And you can only imagine what was he on 8/10, 9/10. There's still more there.
For sure. And another guy too, as we speak to him later on as well, is Ryan MacHugh and the Rally 4 Fiesta. Like setting fastest times overall on the two-wheel drive on the Friday night just shows that, another one of those young guys coming up through the system, part of the MI Rally Academy, just shows that the next generation coming, such exciting times ahead.
Look, Ryan's come a long way in a very short space of time. And the work he's done with the academy, he's been doing a lot of pre-event planning. He's done an awful lot of work on preparing his own notes and around that. And, we're really starting to see, he's taken on board the advice he's getting at the academy. And the proof was in the pudding there at the weekend. Like, what a result.
Oh, fantastic, really is. Anyway, I think enough of us waffling on here. We'll catch you. First of all, we'll speak to Mikie Galvin and Matt Edwards. That will roll into Creighton. Okay, here, let's hear from the guys. West Cork at the weekend. Once again, Cork Motor Club on an event that has set the standard. What first time, 3 days. Mikie, yourself and Keith took the one, but by no means was that an easy event to complete.
No. It was really good. It was really tough. We enjoyed it a lot. There was a lot of work in it. There was the big recce. The 3 days makes everything that bit longer. It was great when we were competing. But it just makes, there was a heap of different stages. There was it 9 different stages, and it was just a lot of work to recce. But it went good for us, and conditions were all over the place. It was either kind of half wet, half dry. You were going from bone dry to muddy clay, and then Saturday you were into floods. It was tricky, but it was a good challenge, and it all went good.
Yeah. And Matt, from your point of view, you talked before the weekend started wanting to, get the confidence back, build the pace at your own pace, not trying to do anything silly. Mission accomplished from your point of view.
Well, absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's quite ironic that although I set out to do my own rally, I was on my own for most of the rally in terms of times as well. But it was a funny one because I don't think I've had to come back from such a low point confidence-wise. Because even after the Donegal crash, I was very easily able to identify the problem, sort of brush that side of it off and just get on with it. But Galway was a whole different kettle of fish because to this day I couldn't really tell you what caused it. And although the consequences were minor damage-wise and all the rest of it, not knowing what happened was a big knock. So, at any point in the first couple of stages of West Cork, something similar could have happened again because I hadn't identified the previous issue. So, but it was great to build that up as we did, and the confidence does get a bit of a knock when you have 20 taken out of you by Mr. Cronin. That goes without saying, but to get there bit by bit over the course of the weekend in probably one of the most dynamic and constantly changing yet constantly difficult, rallies for weather. It was the hardest sort of scenario to do it in. So really happy with how it turned out, really.
Yeah, because if you wanted a test of man machine, I think West Cork give that because you had all the conditions. You had, it threw everything at you. Friday afternoon, evening was kind of mixed. Then Saturday was heavens opened, and then the last loop and Sunday was perfect conditions almost.
Yeah, I mean, I was on a medium slick in the last loop, and that was working great. But then you set off into the first stage, and you come around one of the first corners in the stage, and it's covered in mud that wasn't there on the recce, and then you're instantly, oh, this is not nice. It was hard in every way possible that you could get for a tarmac rally.
And Mikey, from your point of view too, you spoke last week about making sure you knew where your map light was at for the Friday evening. Now you've done the night stages, a good addition to the event.
Yeah, it was. I actually enjoy doing night stages. We'd have done them a bit in the BRC, as Matt knows, and it's usually a good time. It's there's a certain buzz about it, even when you're standing around at the start. There's just something cool about it. Obviously you have to have a few extra things and lights and bits and pieces to make it all work. But there is something about it. It's looking back in the old videos as a kid, you saw night stages and the flashes of the cameras. It's all just very, very well. It looks very glamorous online anyway. But it's it is fun. It added a bit of time to the rally for sure. Making it a 3-day event for someone who has an ordinary life going with it. It does add time to the event, but yeah, it was a super event. Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
and to give West Cork their due, it would have been easy just to add 4 stages on Friday and say, oh, we made it a 3-day event. But they want for something different. The Friday night thing was it was thinking outside the box, I suppose might be a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, the thing with night stages, I guess, some people enjoy it, some people don't. Keith seems to always go well in a night stage. This year it went okay for us with just the way the stages were. We had to be a bit more careful than what we had liked. But we ended up being thereabouts on Friday night, which was okay. But yeah, going, speaking to people, they seem to enjoy the event and the night stage and stuff. It's something that doesn't happen, especially down the south of Ireland anyway. Very often, maybe up north a bit more. But yeah, huge difference to the likes of, we'll say, the Circuit in a couple of weeks' time. To the day's event. West Cork was a big event. So whether they're going to keep it going like that going forward, I'm not sure, but I think it is something that could work. Yeah.
And Matt, from your point of view, did you enjoy the night stages? And do you get the buzz inside the car? Mikey was saying there about the lights, photographers' lights flashing and one thing and another. Do you feel all that in the car as well?
Yeah, the atmosphere is unrivaled. I think when Mikey said about night stages in the BRC, I remember Thalty Will in the dark when I think Freddie Arlin had a bit of a moment in one of the stages, and we were all sort of gathered at the start of the next one, and all the drama unfolds, and it's all the senses are heightened in the dark, and every little thing is a bigger drama or more exciting because you can't really see a lot, but it's great to see. The amount of people out as well was surprised me, even for a sort of a period in the evening when there's not a lot else to do, but there's nowhere else almost to go. You end up, with so many people going to a combination of 2 stages, and it just packed them out. So it was a great addition, and I've always enjoyed the dark. And as Mikey said, I was in my head I was probably going to try and go harder than I did in the dark, but because we'd had I had a good run through the first 2. I was happy with how we went, but the changes of surface and the mud that had been pulled out even after 3 cars wasn't worth putting everything on the line for those 2 stages, especially with the sort of level of confidence that I had at the time. It was a case of build and build rather than take 2 steps forward and 1 step back, certainly on Friday night anyway.
Mm-hmm. And you've seen some of the video coverage and one thing and another, and is it the night, and because it's just you can't see any scenery, that it seems so much quicker in the dark. does it feel quicker in the car as well?
I don't think it really feels quicker, but I think I was actually quicker on both stages in the dark than I was in the daylight. A little bit of that comes from the familiarity, but because the lights are so good, you're not that compromised on your vision of the road, really. The truth be told, and if you've done the work on the notes and you've got the little crests in there that give you the shadow, that those are the things that generally put you off. There isn't really a lot of compromise, and that tunnel vision that you get from the lights, as you say, just maybe focuses your vision into one spot and helps you concentrate a bit more almost. And it's some sensation to go down those lanes that speed in the dark. And like I say, similar to the Isle of Man is the best thing. Is one of the similar experiences on tarmac that I've had, and it's and the Isle of Mull as well. That's again a different altogether, but it's some experience.
Yeah, you mentioned that tunnel vision, and I know from watching the onboard at night time, that's what I, as a viewer, you get that feeling of a tunnel vision. So I was going to say, as a driver and co-driver, is it the same for you? And then also your notes, when you are making your pace notes, knowing for the nighttime stages, are you putting in extra detail or extra, notes there for yourself, or do you need to do that?
A little bit, not so much for me because I tend to put most stuff in anyway. But you definitely need to be more aware of the crests, because you can get, if you've got, say you've got one big crest in the notes that's obvious in daylight, when you go down in the dark and there's maybe two small ones before it, you can easily think that's the big one, and then it can throw you out quite easily. So it's more for reference, more for the co-drivers almost. When they're having a look up and they see a little shadow, they think that's the crest. They can go, be early or behind or ahead on the notes just because of they've seen something or not seen something because of the way the lights work. So it does add another little layer of complexity. But like I say, the lights are so good. A lot of the stuff is almost clearer in the dark because the lights just pick it out.
And Mikey,
that's out of the bag now.
You can have that one. There's no more night stages this year.
And that's Mikey, for yourself, for keeping your place. When you do look up just to check you're in the right spot. Like, do you find it is easier with the lights, or are you doing it by feel? Are you doing it by you've landed after a crest? If you're going left or you're going right.
For me, a lot of it would be feel, and the lights are absolutely incredible, and it's, I guess, something that people don't see when they're not in the car, but the lights are absolutely incredible. We turned them on for the first time going out to the night stage the other night, and we were just going through the settings, hitting all the buttons, and when they launch, you're just like, oh my god. Like, sometimes it actually is better than daylight. But the thing about the lights is, I guess, that if you're going through, how can I explain, like an open sequence of corners, the lights are only facing one way. So those pockets of shadows, where in the daylight you just take for granted that you can see all those things in the peripherals, the lights head in one direction. But usually it's not that much of an issue. Yeah, it's quite fun. Keith seems to go well in the dark, because I think something for going well in the dark, as Matt was saying, when the notes are good and detailed, like, we don't add that much in the dark at all either. He just puts in talkie of crests. Yeah, Keith does use a lot of crests, even very short distances between crests, but no, we don't put in a whole lot of different stuff, but it all just has to work out. Having the confidence in them, you can drive to them. I think in the bright or the dark, if you have the confidence in driving to them and the confidence in making them, I think it shouldn't be that much of an issue.
Yeah, because one thing that Keith mentioned, on with talking to Kelly and Andy, was on the Saturday in the fog, was having full confidence in these notes. Like, just pass over the stages twice to make those notes. To drive down at 10 tenths, him taking what he has said to you and you wrote it down, everything has to be perfect. Really.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was my next topic, was the going from dark. Dark is one thing, the fog is a whole other thing. Matt will probably agree. That was scary, actually. That was that was pretty nerve-wracking. I wasn't in my the happiest I'd ever been. A co-driver's seat coming down there, but it was incredible all the same. And we did a lot of damage in those stages for that reason. But it is quite scary, and especially in West Cork, the speed is so high. Naturally, the speed is just so high. So you're coming down this road on the limiter, and you're calling notes, and you're going, God, I hope I'm right, because you can't even reference are you right, because you can't look to see are you right. So you're all by feel. That was literally all by feel, but it worked, thank God.
And like Matt, for you, like this faith, that you have in Dave there beside you, like going down that, like on the limiter, as Mikey says, like is there like doubt starts to creep in that is this right what he's calling, or is there total faith in the car?
I don't think it's doubt what he's calling, but I think that would be the difference for me where I'm at, my confidence versus Keith with his. I probably had a little bit of noise going on up here that was just like, this is mental. I'm committing to I've actually got a video sent yesterday that, we just go around this flat left towards the end of Clogger, and we go around the left-hander and then just disappear into this little wall of fog. And it's like, that's actually all I could see as well. But you just know it's a flat left. So you just commit to flat left. And I think the timing of the notes is more important in the fog, because you haven't got the vision to react if the timing's a bit wrong. If the timing's a bit late, you're heading flat out into something you can't see. In the dark, you can still, the lights are still good enough to have your vision, but in the fog, the reference point is, the time it takes to cover 40 meters, 50 meters in the fog without seeing anything is nothing. And by that time, it could be too late. And I had two moments in the Ardfield stage, actually, second run, where my eyes picked up like something different than they had the first run. And it's like, oh, that could have been a bit iffy. And then there's a long straight on the top bit before you drop down to the beach, and there's like 500 straight, but there was just a tiny little kink in the road that I hadn't noted. And it was like, just instant come off the throttle just for a split second. Then you think, no, it's another 150. What are you doing? But it's those little things that make a big difference in the fog. And it's the whole job is confidence, regardless of daylight or fog or whatever. But it's that bond with the co-driver and the notes and the preparation that then yields the time. So.
Yeah, because I suppose when you're driving the road, there's a certain amount you're committing to memory, the visuals and the notes are there to remind you. But when you can't, as I say, as Kevin said, you did 2 runs, but when you can't really see up ahead, like, it must take a lot of mental willpower to stay as committed.
Yeah. I think a lot of my notes work in sort of triggers for pictures as well. So the previous straight is the trigger for the next note, and you build it like in a sequence in your head, right? This straight leads to that, and then the note reinforces it. But when you've not got the vision to start the triggers, the note itself, the words have to paint that picture instantly as to where you are on the stage. And it takes a lot of time in the car and a lot of practice and a lot of experience and like the confidence word again to put it all together.
And then the dimension of the rain coming, like this was like floods and rivers running down the roads. Like, yes, there's wet weather tires. Does that need, do you have to make you put full confidence in them for patches of rubber hitting the road as well?
Well, I was just gonna butt in there and talk about the fog, add all those things in with that as well, which are singular, really hard things to do. Floods, rain, fog, fogging windscreens. They all came together. Yeah, Jesus, I would have fancied it.
Surely we're all wiser than to be still at this, Mikey.
I know. I thought we were on the way like down the hill, and then we're climbing up the hill. I know. God, 2017. I thought that was the height of it. When we're right back there again. Worse.
Yeah,
I'm actually doing it twice as bad because it's doing Irish and the British together.
we were staying at Park Ferme, and we said at the finish on Sunday that the last time we were stood here was 2017 in Ypres.
In Ypres in 17.
Yeah, and
it seems like quite a bit ago. Like
it is. Well, it's a long time.
It is a long time. Yeah. Great times though.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were great times.
I was saying to Jess earlier. I said, we've had a lot of you, me, and Keith, and Darren and Patrick. We've had good times over the years, but
yeah,
even over the weekend, whenever there's a bit of downtime, it's just like a group of lads just having a laugh, isn't it? Really, it's such a good
so
thing
important.
To be part of.
Yeah, it's fun
to enjoy it that way is something else, and I think that just to be at ease with the people around you is as big a part of it, and the enjoyment, and I think that brings out the best in all of us as well on the stages. And, it's a pleasure to be part of. Really is.
It's friendly, yeah. The whole thing is quite friendly, and from what I hear, it's not always like that. We've always had decent enough relationships with everyone that we're competing with, but it is a nice thing, and I think especially in Ireland, there's a really good scene of that. Especially, obviously, it's good in other places as well. It's great in the UK. We had great times in the UK, but especially in Ireland, there's just something. The banter at the start.
And that between the stages, can you almost switch off what you're after experience, in that last 10 minutes, and before you head into the next 10 minutes? Is there almost like a downtime between the two? I
would say yes, like there totally is. You're talking about the craziest things, doing something, that I suppose on one side is so serious, but it's so nice to have those few minutes of just nothing and just stupid talk and laughing and joking and, then you have to zone in and go again and then back to stupid talk again after 20 minutes.
I don't think there's any other sport like it where the intensity of the competition is so high, but then literally you cross the finish line, like from Glandore into Sam's Cross, you come at one of the highest speed stages with such complexity, and then you're across the road. You're out the car for 20 minutes, chilling, and you go from that ultimate high down to a complete rest, switch off, and then 2 minutes, lads. You're on the start line, launch control in, and you're straight back up to that level of absolutely performance. It's terrifying craziness. Yeah. It is super. Yeah. There's nothing like it for sure.
Is it like a natural thing that you can drop off and pick up again, or do you have to? Is there anything you have to do to get yourself hyped up there once the guy says 30 seconds to go? Is there a routine that you, Mikie and Keith, go through? We spoke to Matt that he has his routine. Then when he gets 10, he needs and it's 7 that comes in, and then the countdown. Is there anything that you have to be for boys?
I think it's almost like a natural nervous reaction of a competitor now. The minute that you're putting on that balaclava, I think that's what's actually building that thing up. You know what's coming. When you're going in, you're tightening those belts beyond belief, and you're getting the helmet on and getting the cameras on. That's the natural process of, okay, we're going to be going now again. And there's a buzz sitting on that line. And people are watching, and it's all very intense. It's exhilarating. Like it is incredible. And for that couple of seconds, when you get the start time off the guys, because you don't know how long it's going to be. It could be 3 minutes, 20 seconds, 10 seconds sometimes. But when you have that time and you have that minute just to build up to that, you're looking at the notes. You're saying, okay, here we are. We're on the right stage. Cameras on, everything's on, and you know what's coming. And it's it's something special, all right.
Matt, what's your thoughts on that? Just as as you say, there's no other sport like it.
Yeah, he's bang on. It's that I've got a defined process and order which I do the belts up and all that sort of thing. And just when you launch, I try and get every little bit of information I can. Obviously Keith was in front of me. I saw his back bumper all bloody weekend, to be honest. Just to see him off the line and see what he does at the first corner, if you can see it. Does he touch the brake lights? Where does he? But does he not brake? What line does he do? Does he get wheel spin on the line that he's pulled off on? So I can maybe go slightly left or right, or just trying to get every bit of information from the car ahead. But when you're first on the road, is a different, slightly different thing altogether, because you are the first one to get the time and get in line and cool down, and that there is nothing worse than having a bit of a mad rush on a road sections to get in on your time, and then you go around the corner and you've got 300 out there. You've got to go. You've got yourself ready, as Mikie says, and then you come around the corner with your time in your hand. Oh, helmet's off. Start again. That is a torture. That is.
I was going to say, when you're watching the WRC and you see the drivers before they're ready to go, and they're actually on the rally TV watching the guy in front or two cars in front, like, obviously we don't have it for the BRC or the ITRC, but would you see that as being, that would be a great thing, or would that be a distraction, or would you want that?
I would want it, because I think you want to glean every bit of information that helps you. It's all very relevant, up-to-date information. You get the weather, and you get, certain updates coming through from spectators or what have you. But I think, not having had that, I wouldn't know it was a distraction. But I'm sure I would want every bit of help that I can get.
And like that, is it trying to glean as much information? When you're having the chats in between the stages, or with the other competitors, you're trying to get as much info out of them, like what they're going to do around tires, or how
Absolutely.
they, yeah.
But I don't think anybody really holds back on it, because at the end of the day, although Keith and William were competitors, I've certainly got a goal from a Pirelli side as well, to make sure they're getting the most out of that side of it. And are as informed as they can be on the tyre choice and what their feedback was. And because although it's good from a Pirelli point of view, I want to know what the feedback was on whatever tyre they were on for my own event.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody really conceals or holds back, or there may be a bit of a bending of the truth here and there, but I certainly don't think there's not a lot of gamesmanship. I don't think. From an M Sport point of view as well, we're all interested in what little bits of setup we're doing. And I run a different damper to Keith and William. So, I'm on the Eurotar and they're on the Irish. And, that's what works for them. And I'm comfortable with what I'm on. But it's just interesting to know what the changes are going on. And I'm very into that side of it anyway. But, it's just good. I don't think you can ever be short of information. You never stop learning. And like I said, 2017, we were at it, hammer and tongue, and here we are all over again. The thing, not a lot has changed.
But there's a name you mentioned there, William, Will Creighton, himself and Liam, first time in the Irish roads on a Rally 2 Fiesta. What a performance them two guys put in. Yes, we know they're a world, junior world champion, but that was exceptional what they done at the weekend. In those conditions, it would have been so easy to do something silly, but they never put a foot wrong all weekend.
Oh, they did. They nearly came a cropper in Ardfield. I myself and Dave commented that it was quite obvious, despite the environment he was in, how comfortable he was from the amount of high-level rallying he's done. And I think that, the variable really was only the car, in terms of a bit of power, and, a lot of that scenario is the same, if not lower than he's used to, in a way. So it's just to be as calm as he was and take it all in his stride like that. Yes, it's very impressive, but it's not unsurprising for what he's achieved already. And just his demeanor, and it is the way he talks, and the way he he's not afraid to ask questions. And after most stages, we would have a little chat about, did the tyre work? Did you do anything? Yes. Did rear diff? Did this? Did whatever? And it's to not be afraid to ask questions at that age is, I think, a credit to him, and he's just again a pleasure to compete with and be involved with. So,
yeah, Mikie, your thoughts on Wall and Liam as well at the weekend?
Yeah, fair play to them. There's going to be pressure on you, coming from what they've come from to come and do this kind of thing. The two guys are some of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Again, I'd be right in saying, Matt, they were in Ypres with us in 17 as well, weren't they?
They'd have been would they be in the 208 then?
208 then, yeah.
Was it 208? Yeah. God, yeah.
Mhm.
So, they're rolling with us a long time too. But we had a great time with them on Sunday. Lovely, lovely guys. And if you could learn a thing or two off them along the way, happy days. But I'm sure there'll be a good future for the two of them.
Sure. And then, sorry, go ahead, Connor.
No. I was just gonna, I suppose, again, I'm picking Matt's brain a bit more. Like on the likes of Saturday, where heavy rains and huge damp patches and stuff. Like, what can you do with tires in that situation?
Hope. You've got the damp is the worst combination for me, because the brave head wants to put the slick on, but then you've got to know where the bad bit is, because if you come around that corner and there's a bad bit, you haven't got the capacity to deal with it that you have on the intermediate or the wet or whatever it might be. But we're fortunate with Pirelli, we've got homologated cuts, so we can cut the slick to a pattern, which helped, and we utilised at the weekend. But it's knowing where the compromise of that is. If you cut it, you destabilise it a little bit, which helps it heat up. But then when you go from a damp hard field into a generally dry Glandor, high speed, high load in the tyre, you run the risk of not necessarily putting it off, but feeling a fair bit of movement in the tyre. So you've got to be prepared to deal with that as and when it comes, but not forgetting that you've had the advantage of that movement and that temperature build up quickly in Ardfield, which the first K and a half of Ardfield was horrendous for traction. And I went on the medium in the afternoon, and there's no space nor room to sort of scrub that tyre from service to the start. So you've got to give up the first K and a half for that stage, because you've got a shiny unscrubbed tyre and a shiny road. So it's only when you get on the big road can you then start building the temperature in it that makes it work the way you want it to. But for the rest of the loop, which was dry, you're gaining. Okay, not enough, but you're gaining effectively. So it's a big headache putting the right tyre on, and it's the biggest worry, I would say, for drivers and teams for every loop is, what do we do next? What's the weather going to do? You can make the right decision for one stage and it buckets down and you've got two stages on the wrong tyre. You can lose 20 seconds a stage easily on those long stages, just being on the wrong tyre, or you can lose 20 seconds anyway when you think you're on the right one.
But Mikie, we spoke, after Galway, and we said, was this Keith at his limit? Was there any point at the weekend that you thought, whoa, this is pretty much as quick as I would want to go, or was there still a wee bit in reserve still?
Are you really going to squeeze me down in front of Matt?
Yes.
Look, Friday night we went out and we knew it was going to be treacherous, and it was, and we did it twice. So we just kind of set back and we were thereabouts. Yeah, Saturday morning, he went out and did his classic Keith Cronin and did a bit of damage. He pushed hard in those stages. It was quite hard considering the conditions. Same as he did in Galway, he could just get up early and go hard and kind of knock you on your ass. He tends to do that quite a bit. But I think it's just one of his trademarks, and it's just a strength that he has to be able to go out in the first stage in the morning, regardless of the conditions, and just kind of go for it. So yeah, that was quite quick. And then the speed just seemed to be there. just inside of, uncomfort, to being somewhat comfortable, to be enough, which was good. Sunday was tricky, trying to manage the lead. You have people coming up to you saying, "Oh, you're home and hose now, and it's all fine," but it's, totally not, because the bizarre thing that I found on Sunday was, you're trying to be careful. There's a huge win at stake, but you could throw the ball away in a second. Genuinely, throw it away. The one thing that I suppose we were lucky in one way is that we were the first car on the road, because the chances of something being pulled out for us was that bit less. Unless the double O's were going to do some crazy lines, but that was in our head. Okay, the chances of a stone being out is less, but you're still going to a stage like Glandore or Sam's Cross, and you're on the limiter for a mile and a half. So you're kind of going, God, we're trying to be careful, but you're still doing insane speed, jumps and hard leaning on the limiter. I mean, fast stuff, and you're going, God, I hope we can keep it together here. I've gone completely on a tangent now, and you need to wind me back to what you actually wanted me to say.
So you're not going to answer whether Keith was
so Saturday morning. Saturday morning was, we were going quite hard on Saturday morning, taking into consideration how bad things were.
Mm-hmm. And I suppose maybe start wrapping things up. Conor, you want to get, kind of the development of the Fiesta, as we've seen from the car that almost nobody wanted last year, to the ultimate car now.
Well, that's it. Like, we had a 1-2-3 finish for the Fiesta, and it's a long time since we saw it in Irish Tarmac. And yeah, I suppose it was to get both Mikie and Matt's opinions on how far the car's come, and maybe where is the car, what is it about the car or the package that's providing that pace.
I'm going to be brutally honest. I really enjoyed the car 12 months ago in Midland, before the upgrades came out. Yes, it was lacking a touch at the top end, which the new cooling packages unlocked. And there's a slight change to the rear diff ramp, a bit of damping, here and there, but it's not night and day a different car. I just think there is belief in it all of a sudden again, which there was in the Polo in 21, there was in the Citroen after 22, and I still don't think there is more than a tenth or two in any car with the same driver on any given stage. It's just which bit of setup or tyre choice or pace notes unlocks that confidence for you in that stage in any car. You look at Josh and Ardfield. He wiped us both times. Ardfield is definitely a Citroen stage. Strong motor, loads of grip, off you go. You put it down a Fiesta down a wet road, that's a Fiesta stage all day long with lots of technical bits. The Fiesta chassis is always really good. A bumpy, fast, lots of crests and jumps is a Polo stage. The dampers in the Polo are as good as anything. And I just think, you've got to go and buy the car that you can run the most cost effectively, with the best supply bits and the best support that you can get from the manufacturer. And at the minute, that's the Fiesta.
Mikie, just coming off West Cork, you're heading now first round of the BRC this weekend, Northwest Stages, and what an epic lineup is going to be there.
I know. I don't think I've ever done rallies back to back like that's coming up in the next few weeks. Like, I'm literally only in the door home, and I'm here charging the recce camera beside me and ready to go again. But no, looking forward to it. Yeah, like, it's kind of a feast or a famine situation, and at the moment it's definitely a feast. We fly to London Thursday and heading up to the rally and do the rally, and we're home again Saturday night, and then luckily I'm on holidays from work, and we're going to the circuit the following weekend. So it's going to be a bananas couple of weeks. Hopefully we can keep it all together and keep the car in one piece, because that's what's going to determine whether we're at the next one or not. But yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah, nice to be back in the UK. I always say that I love being over there. And there seems to be big news launched yesterday, and with Marion and Chris Ingram. It looks amazing. To see the Toyota and Castrol and the whole thing. It looks cool and kind of intimidating. But yeah, hopefully it'll go okay.
And like Matt, from your point of view, 3 times British champion, like every time you go onto social media at the minute, there's a new team being launched or a new car, a driver and a new car or whatever. It has just gone to another level this year.
Yeah. I don't really see what's massively different about the program or the list of events. They're all good events. They've always have been good events. I couldn't tell you what's triggered it, but it's great to see. I always want there to be merit in winning a British Championship. I love the heritage of the sport in general, and the British Championship means a lot to me, and it's great to see it, building some strength back. And it's a shame to miss it, but maybe next year we can get a budget to go and do that, and or Irish. But I'm happy to be rallying again at a good level, and it's given me a lot of focus just in daily life, because you can't afford to give up or lack in anything to go and do a championship at that level with the caliber of drivers around you. So it's doing me a lot of good just to be out there and at it again. And I'm quite happy driving a rally car anyway. So it's it'd be good to go and do British again, or maybe try and do one later in the year if we can. But it's great to see, and massive good luck to Will and Keith and Mikey for next week. So all this weekend.
And for yourself, then Dungannon Circuit Ireland's your next protocol too, and that's going to be good because it's new stages for everybody. There's nobody going to have previous experience really of those stages. Yeah,
that's good news. We're coming out of Cronin country for a bit, so that's hopefully going to bridge the gap a little bit. But we can't take anything for granted. You've got to be, on the pipe first thing, make some good notes. We're going to have another little test and try a few little things with the car, just to unlock a bit more confidence. And it's all go, isn't it? That's all you can say, really. We just got to try and make a bit of a difference on this one, I think, and get some big points. And just looking forward to it again. Really, it's great to be part of it. Huge thanks to C&M and Pirelli for helping us out and getting us on board and going again. And we just go from strength to strength, hopefully, and carry on the rest of the year.
Yeah, and Mikey, last word to yourself. Fantastic to be part of the Tarmac again this year, and relishing the opportunity to go over and compete in England, as you said.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Obviously, Keith has a job to do over there, as most people know. But we've gone back quite a few times since 17. And maybe this could be that year. We were close a couple of years ago, and a couple of years after that, and whatever. But hopefully, things seem to be going great at the moment. So if we can pass that on to the stuff in the UK, happy days. But let's see. It's a whole different thing, different people. So we can just do our best for now.
William, West Cork, solid result, 3rd overall. You must be delighted with that.
Yep, very happy. To be honest, I'm just sad the weekend's over. I've been watching the onboards since the rally finished. It was great fun to be competing in West Cork over St Patrick's weekend. Obviously, we've done it for a number of years, and just any opportunity to compete back home is great. And whenever you have a good run, it's all the better.
And you just said you've been looking back over the onboards. Is that to relive the memories, or are you looking to see where you could have shaved another bit of time?
A bit of both, I think. I sort of forgot maybe what the sensation was like driving on those stages whenever you get into a real flow, and then especially never having done it in a Rally 2 car. Everything's coming that bit much quicker, and it's a real buzz, so it is. And so I'm looking at it to try and see. Sometimes it's hard to pick out things in the moment and straight after the rally. So if you look back over the onboard and get a chance to reflect on it, just seeing if there's anything that we can improve, going into next weekend.
And that piece of hard to pick things out now. I suppose you're always looking for improvements and that, but you had an event where you had everything. You had night stages, you had flooding, heavy rains, you had muck everywhere in some places, and you had fog as well to contend with.
Yeah, it was a really long event and a really tough event that the organisers have put on. So, which is great. Yeah, we had every condition. Obviously from thankfully we got to run over the stages in the daylight before it got dark. So that was nice. But then you had to go into the dark. The stages were okay, the road. It was majority of it was dry, but there was still a number of wet patches, and the ditches were soaked with all the rain that we had in the run up to the event. So any cutting at all, there was dirt being dragged out onto the road. So it was really tricky. And then on Saturday was a washout. So yeah, and then Sunday we got dry stages. So we got every condition during the rally, as you say, fog as well. So yeah, it was good, but definitely a big challenge.
And how tough was the second pass on Saturday? When you're after the rest of the field had been through the stages.
To be honest, I mean, from the start of the rally, as soon as we were driving the car, it felt comfortable, and um, we talked about it at the start of the rally, a game plan, and we just wanted to sort of forget about everybody else and focus on being comfortable in the car and basically learning it. And we knew that if we focused on that and we were able to make improvements in that eventually the time would come. And thankfully that was the case, and it worked out that way. But I think running up the order, the stages were in really good condition for the first pass, and then when you came for the second pass, it had changed quite a lot. So that was something quite new to me. So just had to bear that in mind, going into the second pass.
And you were competing in a Rally 2 car on a home event. It's the first time in a long time you've probably been in something as competitive. What, mentally going into that, how prepared were you? Like, did you feel there was a target on your back? I suppose some of our Irish Tarmac regulars have a point to prove looking at the junior WRC champion. Can they get one over on you? Likewise, you can't lose face either. So, what was that sort of pressure like?
Yeah, there's definitely a target on my back because they told me that. But yeah, like obviously winning the junior championship last year, and then okay, yeah, we're stepping up a class in a new car and not having done a lot back home. Um, we had to be realistic, but at the same time, there was definitely pressure there that we wanted to perform and do well. But like I said, before the rally, we talked about the game plan. It was forget about everybody else in the times, and if we can just worry about ourselves and make progress with what we were doing, then the times would come, and if they didn't, then there was a bigger problem. But yeah, to be honest, as I said, when we get into the car, it was comfortable from the start, which is a credit to M Sport and the work that they've done. We changed very little throughout the weekend, and that just allowed me to worry about trying to stay on the road and not make any mistakes. So even on Saturday when it was really tricky conditions, apart from the standing water was pretty horrible and that could have caught you out, but we had the most of it in our notes, and whenever the road was just wet, it was still very enjoyable to drive and comfortable in the car, and just just in a good rhythm and enjoying it.
And how much of it was just doing your own thing? Because obviously you're not registered for the Tarmac Championship. That's not your priority this year. But, I'm sure you didn't want to be out of the fight either. So how much were you looking at the times of the guys around you and aiming to take seconds out of them if you could?
We were definitely, I mean, we looked at the times after every stage to see where we were. We were using it as a benchmark, but I was happy that I didn't, get sucked into anything. Because I think that could have, caused me to make a mistake, or that just wasn't the plan that we were on. But I guess whenever we got into a good rhythm and set a time that was close to the top guys quite early on, then that nearly relaxes you. You know that the time is there, and that it's even easier to forget about what they're doing and just focus on what we wanted to do. And throughout the rally, I was just getting more and more comfortable and learning what the car was capable of, especially when the road is so wet and you're on the Pirelli RW tires, what we were using for all of Saturday, and you were just starting to get a bit more confidence and use the tire a wee bit more, and you realize what it's capable of, and it was just trying to grow that confidence.
And you weren't hanging around either. Like, you had 3-stage wins. You were in within seconds of most of the stage times of the what do you call it, Matt and what do you call it, Johnny Greer and Callum and that. So, like, you weren't hanging around. Like, how hard? I know you were saying you were trying to, you were glad you didn't get sucked into it, but it must have been, the temptation must have been there to want to, go in right at the sharp end.
Yeah, I'm not saying that we were hanging about, by no means, but and the pace from the top guys is incredible. Hats off, and especially for so few mistakes to be made over that weekend when the conditions were so difficult, was really impressive and shows the level of everybody. So yeah, I guess we were trying to drive to what we felt comfortable on, and if we did more than that, then the risk was going to go up. And I think to get more speed, that we have to look at areas with, just trying to improve small elements. It's not major changes that we need to make. And like I said, we changed very little throughout the weekend, and we were just trying to get confidence and learn what the car's capable of.
And speed you were doing in very treacherous conditions and fog. Like, you must have had a lot of faith in the notes and in Liam.
Yeah, I've actually been doing quite a bit of work on my notes sort of in the off season and after Sweden with the academy, and and Liam and all the teams. So I was probably, this is the rally that I noticed, the improvements really starting to work. And with the conditions, with the fog, it certainly tested your pace notes, whether you were sticking to them or not. But it was, you had to have full commitment and full trust. And I guess whenever you have that and the conditions are poor and it's all flowing, that's when you get that sensation.
And you mentioned the academy, and you've been doing an awful lot of work with them, and you're at the development days, but you're also then hanging out with and supporting and working with the other academy members, who I suppose are only getting to see you on TV basically. And now this was a chance for them to see in very competitive machinery, benchmarked against the local talent.
Yeah, I guess obviously we're doing, or the last couple of seasons we've been competing, in the WRC and not at home, and that's been so much fun. But then there is an enjoyment coming back home, and there's a little less pressure. The rallies just aren't as they're not as long. The schedule's a little bit easier, so there is an enjoyable side to that, and a bit more relaxed. But in terms of the other guys, yeah, I guess it shows the opportunities that are there. And I know back whenever I'd be competing in the Rally 4, if I saw someone that was in the academy, challenging for a podium position, then it would definitely motivate me to try and get to that position.
And we mentioned about you competing abroad, and then you coming home. Now, West Cork Rally you're familiar with, but how good an event is it? When you compare it to some of the World Championship events you've been at.
Yeah, it was, especially adding the Friday night into this year's event. It was a big rally. I think it was longer, more stage kilometers than an ERC event possibly. So it shows the size of it, and yeah, it was a big challenge, and every condition, the stages themselves were actually quite different to what I've done over the last 4 or 5 years. So for the organizers to use the same names of stages and the same areas, but it actually have such a different stage, different roads. You're always popping onto something that you knew and then back onto a new section. So it was a real mix and quite different to previous years, which was good, really good.
And again, tough conditions to the marshals and officials as well.
Yeah, it was brutal. We were lucky that whenever we're out chatting before the stage and it starts to rain, we all just run and jump into the car and put the heater on. Whereas the organisers and marshals can't do that. So yeah, fair play to them. And we got all the stages. So after my experience going around in Mayo and seeing everything that goes on behind the scenes, I would hate to see the stress levels and what they had to do to make all that happen. So thank you very much to everybody.
Yeah, I suppose you have a different appreciation, or haven't seen that other side of things from Mayo.
Yeah, I was sitting in the car, and when there was a couple of delays when the weather got really bad just before they could let us into the stage, and there was a couple of times I thought that there's going to be a few guys under a bit of pressure here trying to sort everything out, just to make they obviously they can safety is the number one priority, and they can't take any chances, so everything has to be right before they can set the stage live. So I've no doubt there was plenty of work going on there to make everything possible and run the way it did.
And despite the weather, William, it seemed to be a really well attended event. Like there's any of the clips I saw on YouTube, etc. Like the crowds were out in force.
Yeah, there was a lot of people out watching, and I suppose that added a great atmosphere to the rally. For me, running up the order, not something I'm used to seeing, but it seemed like every junction that we come out of, everybody was just hanging over the hedge with their phone out, and obviously by the looks of social media, then sending it on to Killian and Andy. But yeah, I guess that adds to the whole atmosphere of it. And even in the evenings, there's loads of people sending me pictures and videos of the day, and that's really nice. So and obviously with being Paddy's weekend, a lot of people out and about. So yeah, a lot of fun and very enjoyable for us.
And these opportunities that come about, the support of John Coyne, support of the academy, and we're just a couple of days away from the Northwest stages, first round of the BRC. So it's very busy, but there's a lot of support behind you.
Yeah, 100%. It's like I said, doing a lot of rallying in the WRC the last couple of seasons, and that's the priority. That's what we're working towards. But to come back home and show the work that we've done abroad over the last few years and what that lets you do back home, it's great for the academy, and of course for John being with me from the very start and in the academy. I'm sure he's happy to see that as well. So it was a great weekend, and we learnt a lot. To only have a couple of days gap now before we go into the recce of the Northwest stages is really good. I'm looking forward to the rally. I think we have to probably approach it to a similar way to West Cork. The ultimate goal is still the WRC, but of course we'll try and start the rally how we with the momentum that we finished West Cork, but we just probably have to keep our focus on our own event again and try and do a good job.
And what do you call it? The Northwest stages, 10 stages, a one-day event. Like it'll seem like a walk in the park, maybe compared to what you've just had in West Cork.
Yeah, the stages are much. They're a good bit shorter. Yeah, one day. Quite different. That you've got 5 stages, and then a service and another 5 stages. So I think the conditions, like the weather forecasts, are going to be mixed. So that first tower call could be quite important. The stages are quite different characteristic to what we had in West Cork, but so yeah, there's a lot of things to think about. But coming hot out of West Cork and straight into another rally, seat time's important. So yeah, again, looking forward to it. But yeah, it would be nice to have a lot more of the paddies who were competing. It was good fun in between the stages, having a bit of crack, and I guess that's what makes Irish rallying as well.
Yeah, and a very competitive BRC by the looks of things this year as well. So it's not going to be easy in the Northwest stages, even though it's it's a one-day event.
Yeah, there's a huge entry. I think there's 50 Rally 2 cars in the rally. So yeah, a lot of top drivers there, and a lot of previous BRC winners. So again, good for us to pitch ourselves against those guys and just try to keep improving throughout the week. But yeah, definitely going to be competitive.
And I suppose just to finish up, like a 1, 2, 3 for the M Sport Fiesta in West Cork. It's the car you're going to be competing in now this year in the WRC campaign. Must give you a lot of confidence, of the quality of the car underneath you.
Definitely, like I said, we were just comfortable from the start of the rally. We didn't have to go searching for anything, and it was me that had to do the work, to be honest, just to learn what how to drive the cars, to get the best out of them. So which was good, that we didn't have to really worry about anything else. And then, to get the 1, 2, 3, I think, whenever we got into the podium position and Rich saw that, I think he was straight on, and that's the way he wanted to finish and not to try and do too much else. So I was really happy to play my part in that, to get it over the line. And there's a great buzz around the rally, and for Ford to be the centre of that and back at the top of Irish rallying is really good. And like I said at the start, credit to all the guys at M Sport, because there has been a lot of work that has gone on over the last 12 months, and all the work that Adrian did last year. So it's really worked, and I'm lucky that I'm now in the position to hopefully take the benefit from it.
So thanks very much there to the three lads, and that Fiesta. What can we say, Connor? We used to say how much everybody needed a polo. I think everybody needs a Fiesta now.
Absolutely, certainly the tables have turned. And look, fantastic weekend for M Sport and their Fiesta, but even more so, fantastic weekend for William and Liam, heading into Croatia with the confidence that car can deliver.
Mm-hmm. And the BRC this weekend, never mind, before we even get to Croatia as well too, so.
Oh no, absolutely. But again, I suppose BRC is about seat time rather than that's not their main aim. But absolutely, it does give them confidence going into another tarmac round, with a week's, in between.
For sure. And I think now we're going to talk two-wheel drive, and we'll catch up with Chris Melly, Ryan MacHugh and Kevin Horgan. Chris, yourself and Kevin took the one, but an eventful weekend all in all.
It definitely was. It was challenging. Both Johnny Pringle and Conor Murphy give us a real push from the offset. And then I suppose that and the weather on the Friday. I don't think we've seen rain like it, to be honest, in a long time. And wetter stages. So it was challenging. But I suppose, after the 3 long days and the night stages, it was just rewarding to get the result in the end.
Yeah, and the new format of West Cork, the Friday stages, and then going into the night as well. Like you had done the night stage in Killarney, the historics there at the end of the year. Something you enjoy?
It is, it's different, and suppose it's definitely, it takes another aspect to the whole thing, and it's challenging as well there. So definitely enjoyed it. Suppose the 3-day format give us Donegal boys a bit of a dose of our own medicine, having to go down the country, and we're realising what everybody else has to do regarding this recce and travelling the way down and doing it for the 3 days. So look, it's definitely enjoyed the format. Full credit to the club. It's a major challenge for them. But I think the people of Clonakilty and all are majorly behind the event down there. So it's a big, again, it's St. Patrick's weekend as well. It helps the whole thing, and it's a very festive occasion down there.
Yeah, like Ryan, for yourself, like without a doubt, one of the stars of the event, like what you've done over the weekend in the Rally 4 Fiesta, second two-wheel drive, one in your class, like you couldn't have won any better for you, really. If you'd have set out on Friday morning and said you'll take this result at the end, you'd have grabbed it with both hands.
I definitely, Kevin. It was a great event, as Chris said there. It was a great experience to experience the night stages. That was our first time ever doing night, and loved it from the word go, to be honest. We're quick on the stage 3 and then quick on stage 4 again, build up a lead for us. So Saturday then on the tricky conditions was just kind of about trying to manage it instead of trying to push, But all in all, it was a great event and a great experience, as Chris said there as well. 3 days shows the commitment that what the boys do for Donegal as well. A tough recce, a tough 5 days, tough 2 days of recce, and then a bit of a rest Friday morning, and then straight into it then on Friday evening.
And that was your first time driving competitively at night. Like, once you get the hang of this, you're going to be very fast.
Look, we really enjoyed the dark, to be honest. I think we were quickest two-wheel drive in stage 3. Couldn't really believe it, to be honest, but it was over the moon with it. And we're quick again in stage 4. So look, we kind of said that if we made an attack on Friday, we'd see where it would end up, and ended up paying off big time. So it was just as I said there, it was just a bit trying to manage the lead then over the 2 days.
Yeah, and like, was it like, you've started, you told us earlier on in the year you started making your own notes and one thing and another. Like, was it putting total faith in the notes that you think paid dividends then on Friday night?
Yeah, well, a good set of pace notes and a good set of lights, obviously. And just been fit to trust the pace notes, and we're doing a lot of work there at the minute through the academy with Derek Brannigan, with notes me and Declan, and yeah, Derek's has good experience behind him and has fit to lead us in the right path. We're going out and writing a set of pace notes when we're at them academy days off a road, and then coming back and comparing notes. And yeah, it's like when you have William in the room and Josh McElrain and Eamon and Connor Mohan, like it's yeah, when you can get to compare your notes off them boys, like you'll not be too far away if you're anywhere near the townland of them boys. Like William showed at the weekend there what pace he has, like, and I'm sure he's happy with this weekend, like.
That's for sure. That's for sure. And Kevin, yourself, you were sitting with Damien Toner, and like, you guys, everything was thrown at you over the weekend to come away with the podium. Especially like Damien hasn't really had the seat time as compared to other years. Like, he was a bit rusty to start off with, but the pace was good once he got going.
Yeah, the last rally we bought, it was in September, blowing Wexford, and that ended up hitting a bear, but that's another story for another time. But look, I suppose that the boys got to jump on us Friday evening, and that's the seat time, and fair play to Chris and Kevin and to Jonathan Pringle, and the whole lot of them were on a serious pace straight away. Saturday then we probably got caught in more rain. I say Ryan was on the same boat. We got caught. The Gok stage, I think, was absolute mayhem altogether. It was very, very tricky, But then look, lad, we were actually kind of surprised to come away with second. We see Jonathan Pringle going off there, unfortunately, on the first stage, Martfield, and then Colin Byrne to do the exact same thing in the same corner. It was a bit surprising. Look, lad, truly unlucky for them. We didn't want to take second like that or anything like that. It was just unlucky for them. But in fairness, we plugged away, and planning is you kind of have to finish first to kind of to get where you want, and to come away with second was very, very, very happy with, but also very surprised with. It worked out in the end.
Yeah, and like Chris, the conditions on Saturday, that's probably as the Ulster last year and the Friday night we just weren't there, but that was as rough and conditions as been seen in a long time in Irish rallying.
Yeah, I think we got all 4 seasons in the one night there, or the one day. The only thing we didn't get was snow. It was really, really challenging. Definitely was the rain. And that was coupled with the R5s in front of us washing the road with muck. It was challenging. You didn't know what was coming around the next corner at you. And there was floods. There was rivers running down the sides of the roads. The cars were aquaplaning. There's a lot of time. There was a lot of luck on your side to take a drawing what happened there. So no, it was challenging.
Yeah, and the fog as well too. Fog must be really difficult. Rain and flooding and all that. Not that you get used to it, but the fog, it seemed to change almost from corner to corner as well.
The fog wasn't so bad in the corners, and it was worse in the straights. You couldn't see them. You didn't know where the end of the straight was. You had a marker, a pillar, or a tree, or a house, but there was nothing to be seen. Definitely, that was interesting.
Yeah, and from your point of view, sitting in, and are you getting the feedback from Kevin that he can't see nothing? And does that, do you have to sort of reassure him, just take, listen to what I'm saying, take what I'm telling you to do?
You look for the yellow board before the red board anyway, and I think you'll not be far away. No, look, it definitely brings a different aspect to it. And it definitely, as Ryan said there, it's all down to your notes, and we're probably making our notes there now together, nearly 10 years or so, and it's all down to accuracy and having confidence in them. If you get a scare in them at all, it kind of puts you on the back seat, but if you have confidence in them from day one, there you're grand.
Yeah, and that, as you say, that 10 years of trust, that's what pays off at the end of it all. It's if you tell Kevin something's flat, he'll take it flat, and if you tell him to pull back, he'll do as he's told most of the time anyway.
There's not much pulling back, to be honest now. But no, that, and I suppose the pace as well, you know, and fair play to Ryan, you know, the pace that he was on with all began there was we were looking behind us saying, Jesus, we need to put a shape in ourselves here, you know. In fairness, we were probably caught in the back foot. We were a wee bit rusty on the Friday night, but you know, we went in at probably 27 seconds behind, I think, roughly on Friday night, and we after 6 stages on Saturday we were 25 ahead. But it just it took us to get into ring and Dunworthy to get a bit of that back, you know. So it's rewarding when you get things like that.
Yeah, and you know, even from the passenger seat, do you feel like, you know, if never stage is right, that it feels right?
So you'll know coming off it if it's clicked or not. You know, it's that way. But no, you'll get the feeling back, all right. You know, you'll be pulling on your shoulder now and again as you're going around the right hand bends to make sure you don't get the whack in the door. But no, it's something we enjoy, or we wouldn't be at it.
Yeah. And like Ryan, from like your point of view, yourself and Declan now, like you've stepped up now to the Tarmac Championship and doing gravel this year too. Like it's, you know, it's a year of firsts. You know, like you know, like this year was your first full 3-day rally. You know, you've done 2 gravel rallies now. Like this is almost another year of learning for you.
Yeah, well, I suppose learning on the gravel anyways, learning. Last year we done the tar, so yeah, just about kind of trying to get confidence. As Chris said there, I have a good bit of rallying done now this year so far, like, so I was really sharp going to Cork, and now the circuit's only 2 weeks away, so yeah, it just seems to be leading on like all the time. There doesn't seem to be much end of it, but it's gonna have to come down end shortly. Can't keep going, unfortunately.
And like, you know, you've done 2 events in the gravel now. How do you feel the gravel's going for you so far?
Aye, not too bad. We started off in Killarney, like, and it was, I suppose we were just really getting to learn the gravel that day, and we went to 5 Mile Town in the weekend after, and yeah, so just as feel, you kind of know when you're getting a feeling, like, and I wasn't really getting a feeling in Killarney, and then towards the end of the day in 5 Mile Town, you know, you were getting just getting to feel the car more and feeling how the tyre was working and how the car was working. Yeah, it was a big step forward. There was nobody actually in the class, but we were trying to mark ourselves off like Rory Maguire and them, and yeah, we ended up beating them, like, so we were happy. We finished 12th overall, so yeah, look, it's any day you beat them boys up there, like, them boys are going hard, and them Foresters up there, like, so.
That's for sure. And like Kevin, for yourself and Damien, like, you know, we talked, you know, about the difficult conditions. You're a Cork man. Like, was that as bad as you've ever seen down that direction?
I think this Sunday, I didn't do West Cork no last year, but I think last year's Sunday the event was supposed to be horrific. My father was doing double O, and we got absolutely soaked inside and servers. But from my own personal experience, I think that was probably the worst conditions that I've ever rallied in. There's 1 year over in the Manx, all right, it was fairly bad, all right, like, but that was fairly bad for West Cork now, like, you know. But as Chris said there, you had the 4 seasons bar snow, like, you know, so it was a real eye opener, like, you know. It was very, very tricky, and to be fair, any driver and co-driver that got through Saturday, hats off to them in those conditions, like, you know. And to be fair, like, with the marshals standing out there, like, and a credit to the club for putting on and keep going through the day that the day was in it, in the sense that it was really, really bad, like, you know. Fair play to everyone standing out in it and competing, and to get through Saturday alone was a massive feat in itself.
That's for sure. Because like that's something we should, you know, mention. It is like the marshals and all the officials. Like that must have been horrendous to stand out in that. Like, you know, it was all right for you boys, nicely tucked up in them nice, cozy, warm rally cars, but they stand out in that couldn't have been too pleasant.
Yeah, like, to be fair, like, no, and like, you can't fault them, like, you know, like, without them we wouldn't have rallying, like, and that's throughout the country, like, and but like Saturday was a real testament to them and what they do for our sport and stuff, like, you know. But in fairness to them, fair play to them. You know?
And like, you know, that's the one thing about West Cork, whether it's because it's near the coast or what, but come Sunday, whenever the rain stopped, it wasn't long in drying up. Like the first loop on Saturday and Sunday morning, there was a wee bit of standing water, but by the second loop, it was really ideal conditions.
Yeah, like, I suppose the way to start the Sunday was the first probably half a mile to a mile of Bardfield, and unfortunately Johnny Pringle and Colin Byrne got caught in those two in the same section, the same corner, like, you know, it's unlucky. But like Sunday was a real West Cork, like, you know, you three classic stages there, like to be fair, Glendower is probably one of the best stages in the country, like, there. And, you know, when it's dry and, all right, fair enough, you have patches of wet and mucky stuff from the R5 stuff, like, you know, but in general, this is one of the best stages around that you can get, like, and to have them dry on Sunday, it really added to the rally, you know.
Yeah, Chris, like, you know, dry tar, you know, like a 2.5 engine below you, there mustn't be a better feeling, really.
No, definitely not. We can get up and go now. You know, it is a great feeling when, I suppose, the likes of them stages, and, you know, the likes of Ardfield in particular, where you're fast flowing corners and you can see them all ahead of you coming. You know, there's a great sensation there, and, you know, at the same time, we needed all, but the likes of Ryan and us come behind us there, and, you know, they're not far behind there at the minute, and they could stop learning anytime.
Yeah, if whenever he gets the hang of this, Kerry, it'll be hard to catch, will it? But like Ryan, like, you know, you mentioned earlier, like the academy has helped. You know, like you just seem to have lifted the whole game a level this year. And do you put it down to the work with the academy and obviously what you and yourself and Declan's doing as well?
Yeah, definitely. The academy is a massive help. Like, it's not just about turning up to them days. It's about what you want to take out of it yourself, really. If what you put in is what you get out, really, with them. And yeah, look, we put in a big effort with these pace notes. I think that's kind of been the main thing since the start of the year, was to get at that and try and manage it. Like, and yeah, look, it's been working for us so far. Like, so we're happy. It's us kind of probably trying to tweak them now a bit, just to help me, but also to help Declan, like what way he wants to do it. And yeah, look, it's good to take advice from other people too. Connor Mohan there gives us a good help with them, and Dino Sullivan as well. Like, so you can't have not enough opinions and stuff like that on different ways of doing things. And yeah, look, it's a credit to everybody in that academy. Like, it's I suppose other countries are looking at what they're doing, and like, I'd say there's a lot of drivers in England that would love to be getting into it and trying to move on. Like, it's a big stepping stone there for people. Like.
That's for sure. That's for sure. And Kevin, like, for the likes of yourself, you know, you see what these young guys are getting and what, you know, and you know, like, you see what like Declan's doing, or you see what, you know, what some of these other guys are doing. Do you pick up tips from them as well?
Yeah, you know, like I've been navigating now since 2008, and the way that Motorsport Ireland have come on board, and the likes of John Coyne coming in and backing all these young guns coming through. Like, I don't know how many started in the Rally forecast this weekend. It was just frightening, the amount of them. Like, and to be fair, like, they're a good machine, and the young lads drive him and hanging him around either. Like, you know, they're well able to push him. Like, you know, but look, lad, just like, being honest, we were quite surprised at the speed of them, like, you know. But in general, like, just when the boys are in the car and they're doing a lot of rallying, which is absolutely brilliant. Like, it's fantastic to see, like, that the youth of the sport are absolutely thriving, like, you know. And with backing from Motorsport Ireland, like, they have every tool in the book to push themselves forward, like, you know. So, but I know it's very nice to see them.
That's for sure. That's for sure. And Chris, from your own point of view, like, when's the next time you'll be out now? Will you go to Monaghan now, or the circuit on board, or what's the thoughts going forward?
I think it'll be Killarney, to be honest. Those are work commitments and that for both of us. It's close enough. I think it's 6 weeks away, so it's no, that'll be the next stop for us.
Excellent. And Ryan, for yourself, circuit next then?
Yeah, circuit. Then Carrigan-Shire back to the forestry, and Killarney.
Mm-hmm.
So next three.
And like, one man we should mention too, like, and I seen you thanking them online, was the Monaghan's, you know, for helping out with your tyre choice there at the weekend too. Like that, you know, to have somebody like that there to, you know, at the end of the phone or whatever, makes a huge difference for the likes of you when you're still maybe not completely sure of what tyres to go with over the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. Philip and David is. Yeah, look, I'd be close with David, and I suppose Michelin and Peugeot came together to do a deal for that Peugeot Cup. So I tried to push him as hard as I could to see what he'd do anything for the other people in the class, and lucky he came back with that deal. And it's a great initiative for the class. Like it, €2,000, 6 tires. Like it's a lot of money. Like so, yeah, I can't thank them enough for their generosity to put that forward. And just can't thank all the sponsors enough, and Neil too. Without Neil now, I wouldn't be going far.
That's for sure. That's for sure. And Kevin, finally yourself then. When's your next time to hoping to be out then?
I think Damien's out in the circuit. I think that's what he was on about. I won't be doing the circuit. Myself, I probably do the Manx. In the start of May, so I drive there myself. Like we'll see from there then after that.
Thanks there now to Chris, Ryan, and Kevin. BRC starts this weekend, Connor, in the Northwest Stages, and like what a lineup of stuff is there. Now they're not all registered for the BRC, obviously, but I think there's 50 something R5 Rally 2 cars starting the event.
Oh, look, it's incredible. Like, I suppose the championship has gone through the doldrums the last couple of years. They've certainly been looking with envious eyes at what we've had, for the last few years in the Irish Tarmac Championship. So it's great to see the BRC revitalized, revamped. Unfortunately for us, we won't have any events this side of the water this year, but still, it's an incredible lineup, and we've just been seeing, well-known name after well-known name popping up to have a go at the championship, and we certainly have interest from our side of the water in it as well this year.
Yeah, that's for sure. Like we have Keith going over, Kyle White going over as well, and like the guy that's been over supporting the Tarmac Championship the last few years, Marion Evans, launched the Yaris. Like, how cool does that Yaris look?
Oh, it's just incredible to see it in the old retro Castrol livery. And again, when we saw the launch pictures side by side beside the Celica, it was just brought so many memories back. And oh my goodness, the car looks incredible.
Mm-hmm. It really does. Like, and if it goes half as quick as it looks, but like, yeah, like 10 stages now on Saturday, the Northwest Stages. Like, it's 52 miles, which sounds like nothing, but that is like we talk about a sprint event. That is optimizing the sprint event. Like there's no margin for error there at all.
No, not at all. Like it's 5 stages service and 5 stages. So imagine even the tire choice you've got to make in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly, we've seen what the weather's been like, and it's very unpredictable at the moment and not looking that great for the weekend either.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be a tough call.
Yeah, and it's you would like to hope or pray or whatever way you want to put it. Keith Cronin, like coming off 2 strong results, good seat time, he has to be going in there feeling fairly confident.
Well, you would think so. Absolutely. Like, fantastic result in Galway, fantastic result in West Cork. Straight into another tarmac event. You kind of think, it's his to lose almost. But again, he's up against Chris Ingram. He's up against Oisin Price. Throw Marion Evans into that mix as well. Like, some strong talent there.
That's for sure. We've seen over the last few years with the BRC, there's maybe not the quality or the quantity of cars there, but the quality has always been very good. And this year, like that's gone up another level as well too, which is fantastic to see. And I think it's just a real credit. And the terrestrial TV coverage. We're from that area, like rallying on Saturday and grandstand and things. We're never going to see that again. But to be on ITV4, like that's a fantastic thing. That's going to be available right throughout the UK and Ireland here on the free to air package, and like that's going to attract in the casual bystander. It's not just targeted at rally people.
But that's it, and I suppose they probably haven't had the publicity or the PR rallying deserves in the UK over the last few years, again because there just hasn't been a strong interest in it. But the fact that they have the closed road rallying now as well as the gravel stages, if they've got a good PR package behind it, and the fact, as you say, they're getting onto terrestrial TV, like that is a bit of a coup. Like we know ourselves here, when you lose that, it's very hard to get it back again. So you can only hope, and fingers crossed, and particularly with the lineup of competitors this year, that it will be competitive, which you would hope will drive that bit of hype and get those casual viewers on board.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we'll hear from Matt Cotton. Matt Cotton, BRC starts this weekend in the Northwest Stages. I don't know what to say. Every time I log on to social media, there's another announcement, there's another new car, a new team. It's just mind blowing. What an event, or what a championship it's going to be.
I think when we had this chat this time last year, I'm not quite sure it was quite a smile that I had. It was more, but it's certainly. I think it's just relief, to be honest with you, Kev. I think it's just relief that it's back to a place that I think everybody thinks it should be. And yeah, what a roller coaster of a couple of months, really. It's just been insane. I don't really think we appreciate sort of how big that it has got over the last very quickly. It's gained traction very, very quickly since January, really, sort of December, January. So it's very exciting. It hasn't quite all sunk in yet, and because we're only a couple of days away from Northwest stages, I think it will make all the difference when toes are on the ground and we can touch and feel and see everybody and see the cars and see everything in the fleshlight. So it's a pretty good feeling. It is pretty good. Definitely not smug because everybody's had to work really hard for it. But yeah, it's a good feeling at last.
Yeah, because no matter what anybody says about the BRC in the last couple of seasons, the quantity hasn't been there, but the quality has always shone through. And this year you have both quality and quantity. It's not just guys there making up numbers. These guys, there's 10, 12 at least guys there going thinking, I'm going there to win that rally, and that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I agree. I also think in rallying, certainly in the UK and maybe in general, actually, we have this obsession, maybe as fans or people that are invested in the sport like you and I, we kind of judge success on the amount of cars we have, the amount of registrations you have. If you look back over the BRC over its history, and we can go back sort of 20 or 30 years, there's never really been what I would call excessive numbers. There've always been fairly low but high quality and high competition. And I think that's been the same even through the golden era of the BRC, and it's probably the same in the ITRC, although you guys get some really good numbers, which obviously helps with that competition. But I still think you can have a healthy and good championship without huge numbers. And as you say, we seem to have found this middle ground this year where we've got this unpredictability of sort of, I think it's 14 or 15 BRC1 cars, so Rally 2 cars. We haven't had that kind of number for a while. We've got really healthy junior registrations, buoyed by the Stellantis Cup, of course. That's really exciting to have those guys along for a couple of rounds. But even so, those juniors are coming along to do some of the BRC rounds because obviously they can have a chance at the junior BRC title. So, and then it's healthy in the classes as well. We've got 3 Rally 3 Fiestas registered, and that's really good because we only had Johnny Mulholland, bless him, last year. BRC4 we've got a few, and we've also got quite a good solid number in the national and the open, which is the non-homologated categories of the BRC. You add that all together and all of a sudden you've got this really exciting melting pot of a championship that just becomes so, just as I keep saying it, but unpredictable. It's like, where would you put your money on?
You're pulling the name out of the hat almost, isn't it? So.
Yeah, and of course last year, it's such a contrast from last year. As soon as Adrian arrived, and you had Keith. Okay, you had a couple of other guys that were fighting with them, but can't say that really. A foregone conclusion? No, it wasn't a foregone conclusion. He still had to work quite hard throughout the season, but your money would have quite easily have just slapped on Adrian Fulmo's back and said, "There you are, lad. There's 20 quid. I'm going to make me money on you." Do that this year, you got a good chance of losing that.
Yeah,
20 quid. Yeah, and that's good. That's really, really good. And I'm really, really proud to be part of it. Again, I always am, but really proud to be part of it this year, and to see everybody coming back. And the other thing, I can wax lyrical about this all day, and I can, but the thing is to draw champions back again. I always think takes a lot, because those guys have got a lot to lose. The Ocean Price, who's just announced, classic example of that. He's been there, he's done that. He put everything he had into getting the BRC title. He had the BRC title and then he moved away. So to come back, it can only really ever, it's a risk, because he either wins again, and if he loses, it's like he's going to walk away from this and think, oh, the last time I did BRC, I didn't win. So it's to attract those kind of guys back again. It obviously means a lot to them, and I think that really speaks volumes.
Yeah, that speaks, to me. They want to be involved in the fight. They want the nitty gritty of getting in a dogfight. They don't want to come along and go somewhere they're going to get like an easy one or whatever. They want a battle. We've seen it and we've talked to drivers, and whenever they're scrapping over a tenth of a second, that just gives them the most amazing buzz.
Oh, absolutely. How, in the last 10 years, would we ever have sat there and thought that we could attract, the likes of Chris Ingram to the championship and Keith Cronin to keep coming back? And okay, I know 10 years ago we wouldn't have known about Will Creighton and how he was going to progress so quickly. But when you're attracting European rally champions, junior world rally champions, those kind of level of drivers to back to the series, you're doing something right. And coupled with the calendar, the TV package, it's just all come together. And it's not just those guys; it's everybody else. Your Elliot Paynes, your James Williams, your I don't know, even your Neil Roskell's. There's so many people there that are just going to make this championship so very, very interesting this year. It's so exciting.
Yeah, because we spoke to Kyle White last week in the podcast, and Kyle, got third overall last year. He was delighted with that. He went away and bought an R5 or Hyundai, thinking, I'll take it handy, and I'm sure I might get third again this year.
I know.
Avalanche slabbed it then.
I bet he's just flicking through his Facebook feed every night and just going, "Oh, there's another one. There's another one." And you know what? And knowing Kyle though, he's going to revel in that kind of competition, and you do. And I think that's the thing. I think there's a fine line between people running away with the championship and it being a 1 or 2 horse race, and actually sitting there and thinking, I want betterment for myself. I want to come back to a championship where I can progress through the season. I want to start somewhere, and I want to just keep pushing away, plugging away, and trying to get to the top, trying to get out front and match these guys on pace alone. Nothing else, just on pace. And that's the exciting thing for me. It's watching those kind of guys. I'm not going to name names for that because it would be unfair, but it would be those kind of drivers that are just going to push themselves a little bit more with every single round, just to be knocking on the door of people like Chris and people like Keith and Mez Evans and all the drivers that I guess we anticipate are going to be towards the front, I guess.
Yeah, and if it's something that struck me as well, Keith Cronin, we in Ireland we know how, and the same in the UK, the natural talent this guy has, and his determination to try and win 5 titles, it's a goal. He doesn't speak much, but you just know that this is what he wants, and the fact that he keeps going back shows the attraction of the BRC. It's if he had won 4, a lot of people would say that's great, that's fantastic, but the fact that he wants to go back and get at least one more title, that speaks to me that the BRC is still the title to have.
And that's it. And don't forget, when Keith was first in the BRC, it was group N machinery, then it went 2-wheel drive. So he's been in every era of the modern day BRC, I guess you could call it, and still he keeps coming back. But I think Keith really sees it as a challenge. I think he loves a challenge. I think he loves digging deep. I think he likes pushing himself. I think he likes the differentiation on the gravel and the tarmac, and what BRC events offer. Okay, if you compare this weekend, the Northwest stages to West Cork, we're doing 57 miles, and that's the rally. You guys probably did that in a day last weekend. but it's not really about that. It's just about the challenge that each of the events present, the uniqueness of each round as well. Not two rounds are anything close to being the same as each other. And I think he enjoys that. I think he thrives off that. And I think he's probably better than anybody else at adapting very, very quickly. And I think when you feel comfortable in a championship, it makes you want to sort of keep coming back and coming back and coming back. And obviously he's got that incentive to want to come back time and time again. And as long as you've got that bit between your teeth and the drive, you know, he'll be here next year going for title number 6, I hope.
Yeah. And like you say, it's only 57 miles, but like if there's 57 miles, that's like that you can't run wide in the corner. You can't have a half spin. You know, if you have a puncture, that's it. Forget about it. Like, you know, this is, you know, at 57 miles, there is no margin for error.
No, massively different strategy. 5 stages repeated, so 10 stages in total. It's a sprint. No qualms about it. It's definitely a sprint compared to West Cork. But yeah, you're going to have to be absolutely on the money from 10 yards into SS1. And that's exciting as well, because you know you're going to be at the end of the first stage and it's going to be absolutely intense. And when you've got the likes of Will Creighton straight off the back of a podium, Keith Cronin winning again, you know, the seat time that those guys have had over the last 7 days is unbelievable. So you'd like to think they're going to get in that car and it's just going to be, you know, putting on a pair of slippers, really. Yeah. So it's up to the other guys to get in, and you know, you can't fail to have seen the Yaris unveil this week, and it's going to be so interesting to see how that goes over the lanes as well. So yeah, really, really interesting proposition. But it's going to be fast and furious, I think. You're right.
And like for yourself and Bex to be there trying to capture this emotion and this rawness of it, I think it's going to be maybe overwhelming is too strong a word, but it's going to be like magical trying to capture just the intensity of all that as well.
Yeah, look, I love that part of it. In fact, that's the my favourite part of it. I could sit at a stage end all day and chat to drivers all day long. It's just I love it. I really, really do love it. But there's no secret that last year it became quite difficult because there were big gaps before we had competitors, and it's hard to, you know, weave a story out of what we sort of ended up with last year. No disrespect to any of the competitors, of course, but it was tricky to keep talking to keep it entertaining and interesting. This time, I just don't think that's going to be a problem at all. I'm going to be like a kid at a sweet shop being at the end of that first stage. It's going to be very exciting indeed to see what the reactions are going to be like, and delivering those stage times back to them as well. That's going to be the interesting thing. So once we get those stage times, you get the first one on the board, you get that benchmark, which is likely to be Chris Ingram. And then it's just the reactions from there on in. It's like, how far away are you? You know, what are your times like? And it's just capturing that. It's so unique, and I love that part of it. I mean, yes, I know there's a lot of people that love in-stage footage, and I fully agree with them. If we had that resource and we had that budget, I'm sure that's something that we would do. In the BRC, but you know, I think stage ends are really, really important to deliver the whole. I don't know, to just make a circle of the weekend, really, just to be able to bring all the news and a little bit of atmosphere as well. Okay, there's not quite the action, but I think sometimes the drivers' reactions are good enough for me, to be honest.
Yeah, because like to me, like, you know, and we said this before, it's like running up to, you know, Ronaldo, or I don't really know football, but, you know, running up to them after they've scored a goal or they've kicked the ball wide or whatever, you know, and it's getting that reaction that they're either celebrating or they're head in the hands kind of thing. And, you know, there's no other sport that allows you this access so immediate.
No, exactly. What in F1, for example, it would be like going up to Verstappen as soon as the checkered flag had waved and like stuck a microphone underneath his helmet as soon as he's crossed the finishing line. You know, you don't get that. They literally got the helmets on, the sweat still pouring off their face. And it genuinely is. It's emotion and it's reaction and it's adrenaline, it's nerves. it's frustration, obviously.
Mhm.
It's everything rolled into one, and it's interesting to see how drivers as well developed across the course of a season, because I think they start as we get towards the end of the year, they start trying to pay attention to what they're actually saying. But always, I find the first round is always like loose tongue, just say what they think, and I love that. I love that. I want people to do that. That's kind of what we're here for, and I'm sure everybody loves that part of it as well. You know.
Yeah, and like another thing that too that the BRC has hung their hat on this year is the ATVX coverage as well too. Like we've long lamented rally needs to be back on mainstream TV, and like this doesn't get much better. This is the station that covers the British Touring Car, British Formula 3. It's almost like a home for motorsport. So to be hanging your hat on that, that's fantastic.
It is. It is. It is phenomenal. I think. I think the issue can be. I mean, there was a train of thought many years ago that you could come off of TV and you could produce a live online package that would do it. And there's obviously many motorsport series that do that very well. But personally, I think that online can become quite foggy sometimes. It's quite easy to get that lost, and you have to go looking for it. It's not something that you can stumble upon by chance. But the key thing for that is that all those millions of viewers that are potentially sat there that can look at the BRC, that have never maybe seen it before, that have never even seen rallying before, let alone the British Rally Championship. The potential in that is absolutely overwhelming. And I think that's so important. That's not just important for the BRC, but it's important for rallying as a whole in the UK. And of course, you guys in Ireland get that service as well. So you can watch it over there. And you have to make the most of that. There'll be features even, there'll even be features on how to get into rallying and how to marshal and things like that, because we have a real new audience here in the palm of our hands that we can relay how good our sport is, how entertaining it is, and put it into the TV screen in the corner of the front room while they're eating their tea and everything like that. And it's just the untapped potential of that is fantastic. And we've just announced the TV times as well, and they're really, really good. It's like 5:45 at night, so it's considered prime time on the Tuesday the following week after the rally. So it's absolutely fantastic. I'm very excited for it. There's been a lot of work behind the scenes to create the production. It's a Motorsport UK production, and there's been so much work to make it look good and feel like a really top quality TV show. And I'm very, very excited to see it come to fruition as well. It's going to be really, really good.
Yeah, and I suppose, like from our point of view, if there's one such thing as a downside, we're not visiting, the Irish Sea, crossing the Irish Sea this year. But like to grow the championship, sometimes you have to take a step back to take two steps forward.
It's exactly that. It's exactly that, Kev. To be honest, I think there's nobody more sad than we are about not coming to Ulster, and obviously Ypres was a great addition to the championship. We were talking about challenging rallies, it's the most toughest rally on the calendar, but we appreciate the cost, we appreciate the time away from home. They had to make some fairly severe changes because quite clearly it was heading in a direction that wasn't really sustainable last year. So we had to look at that, take stock, sit back with the feedback from the competitors, because ultimately they're the customers, and just say, okay, guys, what do you want? What would make it work for you? We're really sad to lose Ulster 100%. It's been a mainstay of the championship for so very long, but it's never say never. I think it was important to get a UK mainland calendar together so that we could just get everybody back into the championship, like seems to have worked. Get everybody back interested again, get the passion, and then look, maybe when we have that opportunity, when we can afford to, then look to broadening horizons again. Because obviously, Northern Ireland is a really important part of the British Rally Championship historically and now. So it's just give us a while. Give us a while. Let's get some solid numbers on the doors. Let's get back to a place where we should be, and we can look at that again for sure.
That's for sure. And as you say, this is all across the board. This is not focused on the Rally 2 R5 cars. This is looking at everybody. That's the fascinating thing with Rally. There's so many stories from right throughout the field, and as you say, the coverage is going to show that as well.
Yeah, it's got to. It's a big championship. There'll be coverage of the juniors and the national and the open category, the non-homologated ones I was talking about earlier. So everybody will get a slice of the pie, and I think that's important. It's funny. It's an hour show, or at least it's 40. I think it's like 47 minutes. I think it comes up as without the advert, something like that. And that's actually quite a lot to fill. It's a lot to do. So it's important that we do use that opportunity to do other stuff. So features for people that maybe don't know what we're talking about when we talk about BRC1 and BRC4 and juniors, we know what they are. Yeah. But the guy sitting at home in the telly might think, well, what constitutes a junior? What age? What's the cutoff? What cars are they in? What's the difference between tarmac and gravel setup? What's a recce even? It's all this stuff that we take for granted that we talk to each other about all the time, and they're not even going to have a clue. So it's really important that the program diversifies across the course of the year, and I genuinely think it will. The guys behind it are really, really well versed at that, so I'm looking forward to the content.
Excellent. Well, Matt, it's been an absolute pleasure as always, and we'll have to keep in touch throughout the year to see how this monster develops.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's only going to get better as well, so I look forward to coming back.
So thanks to Matt there, and best of luck to everybody in the BRC. We'll be keeping a very tight eye on that now on Saturday. Once again, thanks to everybody that took part in this week's episode. That was Season 3, Episode 16. Can you like, share, subscribe? All those things make a difference. And if you could rate the podcast, it makes a huge difference. So until the next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.